program's youngest cubs are exploring.
Hello, sweet girl.
Sisters Bemba and Bisa are now 6 months old. The sisters were brought in from South Africa, and since they arrived, David has been trying to introduce them to new experiences and make them comfortable in their unfamiliar surroundings.
They're all just paws and teeth and claws everywhere, and that's perfectly normal.
So far, they've only made short journeys away from their enclosure.
We hadn't really banked on there being a lake in the way. Go on.
But David thinks they're ready to learn more about the wild world that will one day be their home.
Okay, let's pick up the pace, kid.
Feisty Bisa is more confident than her sister, and her curly tail makes her easy to recognize. Bemba is more cautious and has a timid nature. The handlers encourage the cubs to explore their natural environment, and today, David is trying to build their confidence around water.
This morning we've brought Bemba and Bisa out to a part of the park they've never been to. But at the moment they're just being introduced to what we call wallowing pools. Neither seem overly keen to get their feet wet, but they do really want the stick.
The handlers try to tempt the cubs into the water. As the feistiest cub, Bisa shows some interest, but she hesitates. David tries to encourage her forward, using something he knows Bisa just won't be able to resist.
Soggy elephant poo. Every cub's favourite toy. All cubs absolutely adore elephant poo. And it's not particularly aromatic. A word usually used for cooking rather than poo, but we'll use it here. But yeah, they find it, they roll in it, they chew it, and when it's particularly dry, it makes for a great football.
Bisa searches for more. In her excitement, she quickly forgets any fears.
See, now you're going deeper. More poo. A couple of days ago, even just puddles were a bit too much. Now, sticking the whole head in, you are going to be a swamp baby, aren't you? That was well earned. No surprises, Bisa is the first one to get her feet wet.
On dry land, Sister Bemba is more reluctant, but watching her sister having all the fun seems to give her the incentive she needs.
Bemba's a little cautious. Ooh! Got your whole nose under, blowing bubbles. But she's got her prize. Elephant poo all round. Now you're all stinky.
Bemba's success gives her a confidence boost. She seems to forget her place in the pecking order and heads towards her sister to start a play fight.
Dominance games form a large part of the play. For this pairing, one will constantly test the other. Usually that's by coming up behind and grabbing their back, biting the back of the neck. What we're also getting is that Bisa is just trying to defend her patch of elephant poo. Not, particularly strongly, but she's grunting away. The ears go flat back, she snarls, and it's all sign that, this is mine. Of course, Bemba keeps testing. Come on, girls.
David leads the cubs onto the savannah, where a herd of impala often graze. The cubs have never seen prey before, and David wants to see how they'll react.
Our scouts called in to say that there are some impala up here. And check Bisa. She's got full into that kind of alert position. The ears are forward. And they're moving forward to see what the commotion is. Basically, the first step in the process of hunting is having an interest and wanting to do something about it. Bisa is now going in the direction of where the sound of the impala were. I'm assuming that she, as I did, just saw some movement in the trees. Bemba, on the other hand, has found a nice hole to rest up in, which is cute, but not particularly helpful in terms of her progress.
The impala are long gone, but Bisa quickly finds something else that captures her attention.
She's so confident. She's currently about halfway up a big tree. Yeah, I mean, she just looks like she's back where she's supposed to be, back in her natural environment, and that's the point of this program.
The release program is based in the Mosi-oa-Tunya National Park. The wildlife reserve is the ideal training ground for David's lions, but it also provides safe refuge for many other species.
Sometimes just day to day, I mean, you're just so involved and focused on lions, it is possible to forget just for a moment that you're actually in this beautiful national park. And sometimes all I have to do is actually just look out the window of my house and there's an elephant walking past. But it's a nice opportunity just every so often to leave the office behind and just enjoy the other wildlife species that are all around.
Many of the animals that live here are under threat, none more so than the southern white rhino. Habitat loss and poaching has driven them to the brink of extinction. But thanks to conservation measures, the species is slowly recovering. As part of an introduction program, 5 rhinos have been brought to Zambia, and they all live here in the national park. Head wildlife ranger Moses Kawoma has worked with the rhinos for 3 years.
I have to say, I do feel a bit nervous being this close to something so huge.
Sure.
Fwanya is the oldest rhino in the park. He weighs over 2 tons. He may look docile, but if rhinos feel threatened, they may charge. And over short distances, they can reach up to 25 miles an hour.
So this one doesn't mind people being around?
Yeah, as long as you don't also go very close, because you need always to leave that space so that it doesn't charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moses, have you any idea how old Fwanya is?
Yeah, about 30 years old.
30?
30 years, yeah.
That's, and how long would you expect him to live for?
Yeah, you can live for more than 50 years.
50? That's amazing, eh?
Yeah.
Fwanya is a true survivor. 3 years ago, he was shot by poachers who tried to kill him for his horn. He survived the attack, but sadly his female mate was killed. He still bears the scar of that day and will walk with a limp for the rest of his life. The guards have taken every precaution to try and prevent another tragedy.
There's a microchip in the horn there.
Okay.
Which we use to actually track them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These rhinos, they are 24 hours on guard. Officers are there. Even while we're standing here, there's some officers already observing us who are actually taking care of these rhinos.
You've got a total of 5 rhinos. How many guys do you have to employ just to look after these 5 rhinos?
20 officers are assigned to take care of.
Just for the rhinos?
Just for the rhinos.
Like all adult male rhinos, Fwanya lives a mostly solitary life, but occasionally he seeks out the company of the 4 younger rhinos. The wildlife rangers never leave the rhinos' side, ensuring their safety and helping to protect the future of their species.
I fully appreciate the amount of protection that is required for this animal here, simply because if there wasn't 24/7 armed security, this animal would probably be dead in a very short space of time. It's too valuable, poached for its horns. And I have to say, I would hate that the lion, which is the species that I care most about, might get to that state that
the only way to keep it alive in this continent is to have someone next to it to make sure it's protected. I'm hoping that our programme can help ensure that there are enough lions in Africa that doesn't become necessary.
In southern Zambia lies the Mosi-oa-Tunya National Park, home to David Youlden and to 17 captive-bred lions, including 6-month-old sisters, Bemba and Bisa. Feisty Bisa calls all the shots. As the more dominant sister, she's the one in charge. But today, she's in for a shock, as David plans to move her and her sister in with 3 older cubs. 2 females and 1 male, affectionately known as the 3 R's.
On one side of this dividing fence is Rwanda, Rafiji and Ruma, and on the other side is Bemba and Bisa. What we want to do here is always to raise prides together. So the ideal is that these 2 groups are introduced.
At 11 months old, the older cubs are twice as big as Bemba and Bisa.
The 3 R's don't play nearly as much as the B's do, and we think just their enthusiasm will rub off on our slightly older cubs and really can only be to their benefit. So we'll open them up. There is a bit of a size difference, so our little ones might get a little bullied, but, you know, that's all part of growing up. So, are we ready? Lovewell, if I could please have the keys.
Bemba and Bisa have been living next door to the 3 older cubs, but until now, they've been kept apart by a locked gate.
Come on. Come, little one. Come on. That's it.
Bisa cautiously starts to explore the new enclosure.
Here, my girl.
She totally ignores the 3 other cubs.
This is Ruma.
But the 2 older females are intrigued by their new playmate. They circle her slowly, sizing up the competition.
This is what I mean about how the R's will just sort of bully the B's a little.
Bisa is outnumbered. She heads back to her old enclosure for backup, but her sister has other things on her mind.
Bemba hasn't noticed the whole thing yet. She's just chewing on an old leg that she's got.
Bisa is left to fend for herself. She's half the size of the older cubs, but she's used to being dominant, and she's not ready to give up her status. When Bisa realized she was being surrounded, she rolled on her back as a sign of submission. But when the older females continued to close in, she went on the defensive, baring her teeth and snarling a warning. Her defensive behavior sends a clear message, and the older females eventually leave her alone.
The 2 R girls are just continually testing, and Bisa has now had enough and has told them so. You then get a lot of vocalization between the R's, that kind of yelping sound, which is looking for reassurance between each other. So Bisa's done well, given that she's, you know, on her own out here, and she has clearly laid down the law. Now, Bemba's a bit confused, so I'm just going to see if I can help her to work out, to come out. Hello, my girlie. Come on.
In the old enclosure, Sister Bemba has finally noticed all the activity.
Big world out there. Here we go.
Bemba doesn't have her sister's confidence. She's a timid cub, and David has no way of knowing how she'll cope if the older cubs try to dominate her. When approached, Bemba stands her ground, but she doesn't growl or try to fight back, and the older female quickly loses interest.
That seemed to be a little easier. She is more submissive, so, I mean, even very subtly, she's giving away those kind of signals to the others.
Bemba and Bisa are being tolerated by the older females, but all the noise has attracted the attention of the biggest cub, the male, Rwanda.
Right, here comes Rwanda. Stick up for yourselves, girls. Be nice, boy. See, Bema just wants to play. Wash, you big lug. They may be small, but they have some serious teeth and claws on them.
The sisters' ability to defend themselves seems to have earned them some respect.
And now Rwanda, who doesn't like anyone coming with any distance to him when he's eating, now has both the little bees, his new harem, sitting right next to him. I mean, that's a privileged position that these two girls are in. I think he likes you girls.
The cubs will live together for many years. Over the coming weeks, Bemba and Bisa will have to stand their ground to make sure they find their rightful place within the pride. The oldest lions in the release program are the Zambian pride. They live in the Dambwa forest. Their enclosure is surrounded by a 900-acre release site where they can learn to work as a team and hone their hunting skills. David and the handlers are starting to introduce the lions to their new territory by taking them out to explore in small groups. Alpha male Zulu is the pride leader. He's the biggest lion in the program. His sidekick Toka is the laziest lion in the pride and likes to spend most of his time sleeping. Today, the two males are going to be taken out with Leia, one of the females. At 2 years old, Leia is inquisitive and bold. She likes her independence, so David wants to lead her out with the two males to see if the three lions can be encouraged to work together.
A couple of days ago, we took out Keela, Kwandi and Loma for their first ever walk out into the Dambwa forest. Today is the turn of our other walking group, or as was, Leia, Toka and Zulu. These three have always been just a melee of lions walking in different directions and at different paces. Leia could well just disappear off into the distance in her usual exuberance, and Zulu might just be scared of trees. I mean, I don't even know if Toka's going to stand up. I might be surprised, but I don't think so. Hello. Oi, Dopey.
Zulu.
Come. Okay, just give them some space to come out.
The three lions leave the enclosure, but they don't stay together and quickly head off in separate directions.
Leia, come on.
Good.
Come. Come on. Good cubs. Oh, where are you going? Come on. I think we might have to send the team in to try and usher them this direction. Can you push them through that way, and we'll meet you on the road on the other side? Okay. Cool. Drive forward slowly.
Come on.
Come on.
This way. Come on.
I've sent our three handlers back just to move behind them and just try and usher them this way, and hopefully we'll meet them out here on the road very shortly. Here they come, in fact. I can see it looks like Toka. Hello, Toka. Come on. As the lions get older and this kind of age, their response to our voice lessens dramatically, and that's great, that's what's supposed to happen, but that's why we have to create an area like this that's fenced, because I can't tell them where to go. Younger ones you can call, and they need to stay with us, and we'll go in a particular direction. These won't.
Lions are cooperative hunters. To stand the best chance of survival, they have to work as a team, a skill Zulu, Toka and Leia are yet to master.
Come, come, come. Come on.
Eventually, the handlers manage to encourage the 3 lions back towards the jeep, and they seem to realize that it's easier to stick together.
Come, 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 come. Come, boys. Come on. Hey, Leia.
Easy to spot with his distinctive Mohican, Zulu is the alpha male of the group. But today, as the 3 lions explore their new territory, it's lazy Toka that leads the way.
Hey, Toka. Hello, my boy. Come on. Come on. Toka's doing very well. All 3 of them have now rushed ahead of us, and this is perfect. This is what we want. They're sticking as a group, which is what we need them to do, but not what I expected at all. I thought all 3 would just disappear off in different directions. Toka would barely move, and hopefully I'll get some decent photos to mark the occasion. And the boys, I would say, just look magnificent out here. Got a lot of mane to grow yet, but they're starting to look really quite regal. Hey, my boy. Hey, Zulu. Good boy. We've already done about 5 times the distance that we managed with Kilo, Kondi and Loma, and they're just running around and loving it. And so am I. I mean, I know it's totally anthropomorphic to think that you can see a lion smile, but I genuinely think you can. They've stuck together the whole time, and you can even see if one lags behind, the others have stopped, waited for it to catch up, and then they carry on. And I'm just so proud of them that first time out, they are looking so, so good. And now they're just exactly as you would find on the Serengeti or in the Kruger National Park. You drive along and you find a pride of lions. That's what we've got. I am a very, very happy man today. I'll be even happier when I can leave them out here, which will be possible, but they've got a little ways to go yet.
In a few months' time, Zulu, Toka and Leia will have to hunt with their other pride mates and learn to fend for themselves. Only time will tell if their bond is strong enough for them to succeed. In Zimbabwe, just over the Zambian border, lies the Zambezi National Park, home to Victoria Falls and to one of the release programme's other sites. For the past 7 months, the site has been home to Jabari and Jelani. This morning, David Youlden has driven from Zambia to check on their progress. Last year, David helped raise the 2 young cubs. When they were 5 months old, David watched their characters start to develop.
Jabari is very much the bolder of the 2. He tends to lead, and Jelani is very, very easily frightened and definitely tends to follow. Sure.
He was there when the cubs first climbed.
Ooh, you're right.
When they first got their paws wet. And when they first set eyes on prey.
The hunting instinct is already there. It just needs the opportunity to develop.
Jelani and Jabari are now 13 months old. They've tripled in size, and their adolescent manes have started to grow.
It's been 7 months since I spent any large amount of time with them. And at that point, they were nervous and needy and extremely cute, of course, because they were, you know, little fat things running around.
The biggest change is with Jelani. The once cautious cub is now just as bold as his brother.
Jelani was very, very nervous, wouldn't go anywhere unless Jabari was there. And now they've got the confidence to play and wander around, and that's what the programme for these guys is at the moment. One thing that's really, really good to see with these 2 is that they're still so engaged by their environment. They've still got so much to learn, and they're just testing out the water, they're testing out the area around them. It's all, you can see in their eyes that they're just wide-eyed and excited that they're still learning stuff.
brothers have continued to develop their skills. In the wild, lions often climb in search of a high vantage point to look for prey. When the brothers were small, they weren't the most natural climbers. Jelani was a cautious cub, but over the months, he's mastered the skill. While brother Jabari can be overconfident.
Still not the best climber, but I'm just having so much fun.